Hello, Sean here, WahooWarrior. We're going to have our second battle of our Eastern Front campaign. In the last one, the Germans managed to kind of squeak out a victory. It was a very close battle. I was able to gain the 250 points, which actually launched me a few points ahead. But it's not insurmountable by any means. And this scenario actually kind of gives the defender a little bit of advantage, not much. We're playing the Demolition. And in Demolition, we both have to destroy each other's base. I had to set up my little base up first, and then he gets to set up his second. I have to put down half my army, and then the rest is in reserve. We're going to go over our army list again real quick, just in case. This is Alan, my opponent again today.
Good morning.
Alright, so real quick, we didn't do that at the end of our last video. We rolled up a few bonuses for our guys that survived due to our campaign, and a roll of 5 or 6 you actually get a buff. So I got a couple. My first lieutenant, well, he was a second lieutenant. He got a battlefield promotion. He's now a first lieutenant. So my lieutenant there gets +2. And then my assault engineer squad, they have a bonus NCO. So now they have 2 NCOs in there. Basically gives them a free chit, so if they lose their NCO. But that's it for my upgrades. I was fortunate in not rolling very many negatives for the stuff that did die, so I count that as a bonus. I do have, thanks to them dying and then me rolling on the chart, I have 2 inexperienced snipers. One is my free one from our campaign rolls, and the other one's the one I purchased. So 2 inexperienced snipers, get a couple shots out before they die, hopefully. And then my army list is here, basically the same medium machine gun team, 37mm pack, light anti-tank gun. I have a heavy mortar with a spotter, and then I have the 2 here units, grenadier units, I guess. 3 assault rifles, a light machine gun, 3 rifles, and 2 Panzerfausts in each of those 2 squads. I have my air observer, who knocked out that T-34 with an airplane last time. And then an assault engineer squad. There's basically 1 rifle in there, a flamethrower, and I think 5 submachine guns. And then a truck, which is regular. That's my whole squad. The other thing too, I was just talking to Alan about, and I put it in a text on my last battle report, is we've been doing our infantry-based fixed weapons a little bit wrong, in that they're still able to run. And so that means that they can move through rough terrain on an advance, and that they can move normally just like infantry. They just cannot fire on an advance order because they're fixed team. We've been playing them more like an artillery piece under the artillery rule, that if they're in rough terrain that they can't move at all. So give them a little bit more mobility. I don't think it really affected too many games all that much, but my British mortar, who's a tough fighter, you know, from the upgrade, maybe I'll charge that into a combat.
There you go.
So that's actually a 4-man team, so that's 8 attacks.
Right.
And here's the Russians.
Okay. Got the 12-man free. Is still inexperienced. Got 2 regular infantry units, and let's see, 1 died last game, but did not suffer the negative effect. My medium machine gun, it is now inexperienced. It died in the last game and suffered that. My tank is also inexperienced. I got a buff on this anti-tank rifle that's now tough fighter, so that's 4 attacks. Got 2 of the anti-tank rifles. The lieutenant is now a veteran. He got a buff, you know, from regular to veteran. The snipers still regular. Didn't die last time. Did a lot of killing, but did not die. And then the main gun.
Medium howitzer?
Yeah, the medium howitzer. It died, but it didn't suffer any ill effects.
Yeah, so we both rolled pretty decent on the.
Yeah, not terrible. You know, I don't like having my machine gun and tank at inexperience. So
yeah, the tank is kind of rough.
So that's going to have to survive and get the buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I need to roll a 5 or 6 after surviving. You
So
know,
this is 750 points.
yes.
Go over the terrain really quickly. Basically, we decided we're going to put a water feature down the middle. We've got 2 bridges, one on each end, so there's 2 roads going across. There's the deeper sections of water is impassable on both sides of that, so impassable. The center you can ford across. It's the normal rules for rough ground.
Right.
So you can advance through it. Tanks could even advance through it. Wheeled or prohibited. And then everything else is pretty standard. This is my, what do you call it, objective. I placed it, I thought about maybe hiding it to the side, but I thought if I stick it right in the middle, really, there's really not a cover in the middle. The middle is quite a bit open. As you can see, I got 2 buildings, but neither one of them have very many windows to the rear. There's no windows at all in the farmhouse. Yeah. And there's only 1 window upstairs and 1 downstairs and a door. Not a lot of cover in the buildings, just because I had overran this position. The Russians hastily retreated across the river and set up a defensive position. They must have realized they left something laying here behind the farmhouse, the command headquarters, some maps or something, so now they're going to try to launch a counterattack to capture those, whereas the Germans are still pushing, try to push across the river, get to that maybe fuel dump back there.
And find out the strength of what's behind us.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes. So Russian headquarters has dispatched another T-34-85 to the area to replace the one that was destroyed.
Right.
And but
Hopefully
this crew is
stupid.
this crew is a little
inexperienced.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and I'll deploy my army, and we'll go ahead and get this camera set up, and we'll get this recorded. Try a little different angle today, but basically the same thing, just a little more on the table.
Right.
At this game, doing some setup. I have to set up my army. I've got an anti-tank gun on the left side of that big manor house, this little rock wall that it's behind, and then put my mortar over here. So it's a little bit exposed if anything comes down the road, but I've got my medium machine gun team in the woods, kind of covering the bridge approach. I've got a grenadier squad on the right hand, that manor house in the woods there. And then I end up putting these guys, I wasn't quite sure where to put this other grenadier squad, but I put them kind of there. Can either head up towards the road or cut in towards the middle. You can see on my side, I put my objective kind of in the middle, right in front of it, all that stuff. I mean, it's actually kind of hard to get to. You'd have to come across a bridge approach, come across a muddy field, and get to it, or come across this other bridge and have a long stretch of being in front of like that wall. And at the time I thought maybe a unit in the building or something, but or you can come forward across the river. Alan put his a little farther to the back on the right, kind of right behind the woods there. He's got his free infantry squad in front of it, and then he puts a couple odd things around. He's got an anti-tank rifle in the woods there, and he's got his other anti-tank rifle in the woods on the far side of the road. So he's just, I guess, gearing up to protect from a truck rush over the bridge and get to his objective. But here he's placing a sniper. He rolled to go first, so he puts him in that little wrecked building. I put my 2 sniper teams. I have 2 over there in the far woods. I thought about putting one to match his, but mine are inexperienced, so he'd end up killing him. I'm going to try to knock out that anti-tank rifle that he put where I could see it. It's the one on the far end. And I've got some spotters. It's my air observer up here close to us, and then my mortar observers in that house. So that's set up. We both have a lot in reserve that can't come in until turn 2. But we start to activate, and Ellen goes right away, runs this or advances this inexperienced free rifle squad right down the pipe. I mean, they're gonna come. I don't know what they're planning to do. And me and Alan talked about, kind of his throwing his free squad kind of away, or throwing them to the wolves. And his ideas are free. He's pretty merciless when it comes to that. He's like, they're free. And I kind of was telling him, is like, well, you're basically getting a 10-point or a 10% hedge on your army no matter what point list you play. Higher than 10% at smaller games, but it's like, you know, if you're going to throw them away, but wait until they can be supported. Because his idea is, well, you're spending your time shooting at them, you're not shooting anything else. And that works if there's something else to shoot at. In these early stages of the games, I don't have anything else to fire at. Other than them triggering my guys from not being hidden anymore. Sometimes they just are a little too aggressive. He brings a squad in on the right hand side. In the previous there, I fired my snipers and knocked out his anti-tank rifle on the far tree line. I go ahead and decide to shoot these guys. I think I hit him with my medium machine gun. Go ahead and move these guys, and that's a mud field, so I'm not really excited about being in there. I can't run at this point. Obviously, I'm way far away from that stone wall. He's got a tank I know that can come in down the road, and I'll be really exposed. But I figure got to get up to that rock wall and cover that river, and get a nice piece of protection. I spray a couple shots. I mean, the wall. He still has the wall covered from where I'm at. I think I put a pin on the inexperienced guys, but he's lining up a shot. He's got a machine gun over there, and it is inexperienced because it suffered a death, and we got the inexperienced in our campaign. So, you know, inexperienced machine gun is really rough when you're shooting in any kind of cover. Oh, that's his anti-tank rifle there. I had fired at it once and missed, and I do end up picking it off here. But this is his sniper. He does target my squad in the mud there, and he's able to hit, and he actually rolls a kill. Alan rolls really good with his snipers for some reason. Then he decides to pick off my light machine gun. Because of, you know, German rule, I can re-roll, so a 50-50 chance to get my NCO back. So he picks off my light machine gun, so now I've just got 2 assault rifles, and a lot of times I debate giving my NCO any kind of special weapon, like a assault rifle, which he has in this game, just to lower the odds that somebody want to pick on him. You know, I call in an airstrike, and they do come in. I call it in turn 1. I was going to save it, but I'm just going to try to pin this infantry in the middle, and if I get some pins on them, then I can kind of go for the better terrain and maybe push down the sides or something. But I didn't want to wait too long on it, so I'm gonna, and I target the inexperienced squad just so I could get a better radius of pins on a couple other things that are in the woods and stuff. So he goes down with his inexperience. Didn't do very much damage to them actually. By going down, I rolled kind of poorly, but the pins are important with the airplane. There's pins on this squad in the wheat field, and there's pins on that inexperienced squad. I go ahead and advance these guys up. Most of them are to the wall. I can shoot the inexperienced, or I can shoot that heavily pinned squad in the wheat field. I just decide to shoot that they're more of a threat than an inexperienced squad with several pins. So fire over there. Assault rifles are nice. That move and fire. Don't take a penalty. I'm able to score a hit on there and put a pin. And between that unit and that unit is only a bush, or the -1, so it's a little easier shooting. Well, not easier than open, but. So I go ahead and advance these guys now that I got a thorough set of pins on there. And the only thing in range there was my light machine gun. Everything else is too far away. He tries to activate the guys in the wheat field, and he does activate them, but let's see. Pretty sure he activated them, but I think maybe he failed. Whatever the case may be, they're still in the wheat field. They may have activated, and I don't think they would fire with 3 pins on them, but. Oh, I know what he did. He rolled a foobar, and he picked up the pin thinking he had passed a check in that. Yeah, so he put the pin back down. They had foobarred, but they had rolled the shoot your own people one, but I don't have any no targets were viable because there wasn't anybody within 12 inches of or something like that. So here his tank is now on the board. Tank comes up and fires his howitzer, and in Bolt Action Season 3, his heavy anti-tank gun gets basically the D6 damage, D6 HE. Fortunately, he misses, being inexperienced in moving. I'm not even sure if I had a wall in between us from that angle. I think I did. Yeah, I think I saw the wall, because he didn't have enough to get to the top of the thing. I go bonkers. I can see my truck ran. I mean, I can't unload it on a run order. What I should have done was probably gone about right to where I just pointed with that stick with my tape measure, because after I moved I realized he still had some reserves. He's got a howitzer, so he can move the howitzer in on this turn, and if he pulls the first order dice, he could vaporize my truck, and then I'd have two down. I'd have a down assault engineer squad and a lieutenant with hits and stuff on them, so, and pins, multiple pins. So it's like, oh, I made a mistake. I should have moved it closer over here, where you'd either have to bring it in where I could come out and kill it, or bring it in where he wouldn't be able to. He's got a lieutenant wedged up against that rock with that tree, so if I get to that, so I actually pull the first dice for the next turn, and I'm very fortunate. So I move up right there. I want to make sure that howitzer can't shoot at my truck, and then I decide, you know what, I'm not even going to move my truck. Screw it. I'm just going to jump because that's what's important, is my squad. If he wants to shoot at the truck with the lieutenant in it, okay. If he wants to try to kill my engineer squad, then he's going to have a little hard time. I've got the majority of my models behind this rock, so I'd get the +2. I come out, fire a bunch of submachine guns at his lieutenant. I figure that's the biggest danger of him giving the +2 bonus to that damaged squad over there. And with the flamethrower, I'm able to kill him. I pull another dice, so I bring my lieutenant out. I spray an assault rifle and a rifle at that squad in the wheat field, and then I pull another dice, so I'm able to get my truck out of harm's way. So it was a win-win-win for the British. Alan was very upset. I don't blame him, because I made a mistake. I mean, he could have made me pay horribly, but the dice went my way. I'm very fortunate. I actually pulled another order dice, and I hit his tank with that light anti-tank gun, and I put a pin on it. Didn't penetrate it. Didn't glance it or penetrate it, but another pin. You can see I got another order dice, and I let this inexperienced squad have some love, and they actually take quite a bit more damage. And now there's only a few guys left with a whole bunch of pins. He's going to be needing snake eyes to get them to do anything. So now his howitzer can fire, and he needs a 6. And you know what he did? He rolled a 6. So I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. And then he rolled his 2d6 HE, and he rolled a 2. He rolled snake eyes. You know, you can't. Some games the dice just don't go your way. I think he kills one assault engineer, and then I totally hook him up with rolling a 6 on a mortar against his howitzer, and I obliterate it because I roll a lot on my 2d6. So my mortar spotter can see his howitzer, and things are just going south quickly for the German player. You know, when he hit my assault engineer squad, and I thought they were vaporized. I was hoping to maybe have 2 guys left, and with the lieutenant close by, that they would be okay. You know, 2 or 3 guys if I'm lucky. Yeah, snake eyes. So I get really aggressive with this squad. I don't normally just put my guys in harm's way. I do have to destroy that bunker or whatnot, and he's got a tank parked on the bridge, even though it's got a pin on it. And so now that I'm exposed, he brings these guys out from behind the wall to get a shot on him. That was part of my thinking, was if he's gonna shoot me, because otherwise I'll just creep up through these woods. So he does have to expose his last remaining basically viable infantry squad. So they have to run out in the grass, and they do not very well with their shooting, you know, moving and firing. Most everything is at long range other than his light machine guns. He is able to put a pin on me but not kill very many. And here my snipers don't really have any targets where they're at, so the one starts moving over. He had failed with his infantry unit in the wheat field, so they did not activate, which was good. Otherwise, he would have probably either charged me and just tried to kill some assault engineers or my lieutenant. We're playing this. Actually, we're playing this wheat field closest to us as mud, so it's a reflective terrain. We didn't have two of the black mats. So I was just looking at that thinking, you know, he could assault my lieutenant and whatnot, but he probably wouldn't be able to make it because they're in the mud. He gets a dice here on this turn, and I don't think we were flipping the order dice very well, or the turn dice on this one very well. But he really, standing still now, he really lets those guys have some pain. They have no cover in that little stream, and they are down to like their last 2 men. Fortunately, I failed my check though, because I've only got 2 pins on me and my dead NCO, so it's -3. So I passed on a 6. Tank activates, comes up over. It's got 1 pin on it. It's inexperienced. He fires his machine gun at that sniper, basically point blank. But it's a small unit with his pin and inexperienced and moving. And my sniper survives. He fires the tank gun at my anti-tank gun. He misses. So that's nice. I fire back at him, and I'm able to score a hit, and I put a pin on him, but I don't penetrate again. So, you know, they call that light anti-tank gun the door knocker for a reason. Here I'm at short range. On the other side of the bridge, I'm about a ½ inch into long range. Here I come, advance, pass my check. He did put, you know, he put D3 pins on me with that howitzer, and he rolled I think a 2. But I still have a pin on me, and but with a flamethrower, flamethrowers don't care. Even though we're playing Bolt Action Season 3 rules, where you need a 3-up, it's never modified. So I roll a 3-up. I do multiple deaths and pins with that, and the submachine guns at point blank range. Even though I've got a pin on me and he's down, they didn't really care either. I murder that squad at point blank range. My machine gun now doesn't have anywhere to go, so it starts coming down the hill. And now Alan's he's got 1 viable squad, and I'm now just putting some pins on it. He's starting to pile up some pins on his good squad that still has a bodies in it that's regular, a couple machine guns, and then that's really the only threat that I have. And you can see my assault engineers are basically standing in the open. I'm going towards open. I got to get out of this mud so I can run. You can see the turn dice that we realize we haven't been turning it. We're at turn 5, so you know, getting to his base by turn 6 is going to be a feat unless I can get turn 7 to get it. It's going to be really difficult to score the bonus 250. Here my squad gets out of the mud at least. They advance. He's got a machine gun that you can't quite see, kind of aimed down the board edge, so I couldn't just try to go that way and run or anything. But I come out. I don't eliminate that squad, but I do a lot of damage to them. These guys move into the woods. It's probably what they should have done last turn to protect themselves. But with the light machine gun and 3 assault rifles and several rifles, I'm able to finish them off, even moving and being at long range. And so now he's just got like a 2-man inexperienced squad. He's got a medium machine gun on the other side, and he's got a sniper up there. I go ahead and spray some medium machine gun shots at the sniper, just trying to put pins on, if anything. Don't need a last second sniper causing a pin that fails me to activate. And then I'm just still my light anti-tank gun is still plinking away at his tank, and I don't think I've missed since I've had a shot on it. Here my lieutenant runs down to the edge of the house there, and looking at you know, the distance, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it to his bunker to end touching it at the end of the turn. There's my anti-tank gun lining up his shot. I do score a hit, and I put another pin on him. So yeah, I'm putting more pins on than he can clear them, and I'm not even penetrating it. Sometimes he'll fail and have to go back 6 inches or whatever it is, 4.5 inches. And then yeah, so we're going into turn 6 here. So this tank fails, backs up. I go ahead and order an assault on his inexperienced. My whole point is, and I measure right there, I'm like, if I kill you and I roll an overrun or a consolidation move of 6 inches, I'll make it to the thing. So I was trying to leapfrog with that inexperienced unit, and I rolled a 5. So I'm 1 inch away from his command bunker. So I'm not going to be able to destroy it unless we roll a turn 7. And you know, he still has a tank there, even though it has a couple pins on it. It could, you know, turn and drive through the woods, basically be point blank from me. I'm firing at basically just a sniper with my other stuff. I do have a shot at his tank. I'm able to score another hit. And I do penetrate, I think, this time, and do a crew stun to it, if I remember correctly. Now my lieutenant doesn't need to go that way at all. Either I'm going to get a turn 7 and my squad's going to be touching it, or whatnot. So I'm just protecting my lieutenant from his machine gun. There's machine gun. The only thing kind of in range, or that you can see, is a sniper. So you spray some shots at it, but you know, you need 7s. It's a small team and whatnot. So we do roll a turn of 7. That's bad news for Alan, because I'll be able to get my squad into touching it. I should have done that immediately. If this was a tournament, what would have happened is he would have hit me with the sniper still alive, and I would have took a pin, and then I would have failed my check, and I wouldn't have got it. So here's where I'm like, ooh, I should have done that right away. So that's really the game. Pivotal turn. We had a definite pivotal turn there where the howitzer wasn't able to get my tank or my truck. So a couple pictures of the match. Here's my grenadier squad on the right hand side of the manor house, and I'm moving up into those woods and getting a little fire spot. Here's my grenadier squad and my light anti-tank gun. That's one that ends up in the river dying to the sniper shot at the end there. Here's my medium machine gun covering the bridge approach. And then here's some of his deployment. He's got an anti-tank rifle in this woods. He's got a machine gun there, kind of along by the wall. It's an inexperienced squad. Here's another shot of his anti-tank rifle team. There's his inexperienced squad, and he's got a light machine gun squad on the other side of that wrecked house. And there. The ones that end up getting bogged down in the mud field. His initial deployment. He's got a sniper up in that window. Sniper did a pretty good job. Got his money's worth. Here's my inexperienced snipers. They're both inexperienced because of the match before. So it basically negates the sniper scope. And there's my air observer. Don't use him all that effectively. There's that sniper up there in the window. Yeah, he picks off a couple things this game. Here's a picture of my airstrike coming in. Like I said, I didn't have a whole. I got the sniper, that anti-tank rifle team. I did get both infantry squads. They were within 12 inches of each other, and it's all, you know, it's really about the pins. Didn't do a lot of damage. Here's his tank. You know, the tank back and forth across the bridge the entire game, either failing checks and backing up, or coming forward and getting plugged with my light anti-tank gun. Yeah, he did survive the battle, but he didn't roll any upgrades to it. That's good for me. Here's my assault engineers, the stars. They got very fortunate they didn't get blown out of that truck, and they made them pay by not doing it. So that's pretty much the whole battle. Thanks for watching.